Hey guys, so for Unit 3 this week, or Module 3, we're asked to look over the lesson and unit plans and then compare and contrast how each of those help teachers plan effectively or plan effective instruction and some of the surprises we had along the way. I am reading just to make sure I have the right question there, but after looking at both the unit and the lesson plan, a couple things that I noticed were the same. Our standards are always addressed within those plans, and I think that is just going to help you keep the main vision in mind, either for that day or for that unit. And it also helps you stay aligned with curriculum as you move through. I know that I had teachers in high school that were obviously great for me, but also at the same time, they'd talk and we'd be doing things at certain points in time. And I'm thinking, like, what does this genuinely have to do with the subject at hand? And I think there is a time and place definitely to have a little fun and things like that, but to always have those standards addressed on both sheets, I think keeps everybody in line. Like, I know that I can be distracted, and I feel like there's probably other teachers out there that do the same thing. So always having those standards addressed really helps them stay in line with curriculum as they move forward. Another thing that I notice is always addresses your time frame and your specific content. I mean, for the unit, there's going to be some variation in that content, but for a lesson plan, you normally are sticking to one kind of solid path for that lesson. And the time frame I'm talking about is in the unit plan, I think it says 5 days over, one sec. That's mine. It says 5 days, my bad. I'm moving. 3 lessons that span 5 class periods. And then on our lesson plan, it just says 250 minutes spread out to about 3 classes. So again, those are going to be on their kind of the macro level and the micro level of teaching instruction at that time. But overall, I think those are kind of bare bones that should be addressed anytime you are making a unit plan or a lesson plan. Because again, I think this keeps you in line with the curriculum and keeps you in line with the task at hand. A thing that I found very surprising was the classroom context for lesson plans. When I think about teachers giving instruction and teaching a singular lesson, I don't always think of, it says like socioeconomic status, medical conditions, language, diversity, environment. And really the diversity and environment make a lot of sense to me for a singular lesson, because I think the biggest example that comes to mind for me is when history teachers or social studies teachers are talking about the subject of slavery. Especially in those rooms, I think it's important to know who you are, how you are interpreted by your students, and also how are you providing a safe space for your students to learn about a subject, a sensitive and just kind of hard to consume subject like slavery can be at times, a very uncomfortable subject, I think. And we've had teachers that, for lack of a better word, were tone deaf when explaining those things, and it led to uncomfortability with students, but also uncomfortability with other teachers. As a para, I've sat in a room before where I have felt that a teacher could be more aware of his or her surroundings when explaining something like that or talking about any tough subject, whether it be talking about past traumas for some reason, or relating things in ELA to a past trauma or things like that. Or even in ELA, we have books that talk about being displaced persons or that bring up traumas such as sexual assault or abuse. And it's really important that you know your kids in that moment. You know where they're coming from, like socioeconomic wise, but also just the diversity in the room and characteristics of the class it talks about as well. While those are always in my head when I interact with students, those are always in the back of my head. But I had never thought about thinking about that for a specific lesson, but having to put it in my lesson plan, if that makes sense. I do completely agree with having that there now, seeing it, and I was able to kind of link that together as soon as I read it. It made sense, but I just did not expect to see it on the lesson plan. And also, I think this is something I maybe more expected on a unit plan overall. Like, I think that's an overarching idea or something you should have in the back of your head at all times. So I feel like a unit plan as well would kind of help hammer that in. Another surprising thing, really for me, was the overall length of each document. I know that's kind of a simple thing compared to what I just talked about, but I expected unit plans to be a little bit more extensive, but also I think what kind of got me there was like we do have the knowledge of learning environment and classroom demographics in our lesson plan, so it's not like anything's missing. I think the placement of certain factors, aspects of these documents didn't make sense to me right away, but as I've looked at them more, I do understand why they are the way they are. Overall, I'm looking forward to talking more with you guys about this. Appreciate your time. You guys have a good one.